If you've ever had a flat tire while on the road, you know that it's one of the most inconvenient and potentially dangerous things that can happen to a driver. And over the years, auto manufacturers have come up with a variety of different ways to help us deal with that sort of situation. We find everything in modern cars today, from the much maligned and hated space saver spare to air compressors, maybe even a can of foaming goo in your trunk that you can fill a punctured tire with and limp your way to a service station. And increasingly, car manufacturers are fitting their cars with run-flat tires, like the ones on my Mercedes C450 AMG. And these tires are designed to have a stiff side wall and allow you to drive a short distance after a puncture and make it to a place where you can have your tire changed out or repaired. These run-flat tires have their advantages and disadvantages. Who should use them and who are they good for? And who should avoid run-flats at all costs? I'll ask those questions on this episode of Between the Wheels. Run-flat tires and their origins go all the way back to the 1930s, with various reinforced tire designs being developed, including one by Michelin, which was aimed at military use. While two types of run-flat tires have been used in the passenger car space, the most common is the reinforced sidewall tire, which allows a flattened tire to still roll on the road via the support provided from a rigid sidewall. They have their advantages, and hey, when a car called the Beast has them on all four paws, they gotta be cool, right? Still, there are two sides to the run-flat story. Several of the vehicles that I've owned now over the years have had run-flat tires installed from the factory. Both my BMW Z4s, both a Mark I and a Mark II, had run-flats. My Mini, and of course this C450 AMG, have them installed as well. It seems to be a German thing to put run flats on vehicles. I don't know if it's a weight-saving tactic. If that's the case, I've always been a little bit surprised and confused that my Mercedes SLK 350, the L in which stands for lightness, would put a space saver spare in the back of that car. If we're going for weight savings, we don't want the additional 10 pounds of a space saver in the trunk. You would think that'd be the first car Mercedes wouldn't put a space saver spare in. But they did. Strange, I don't get it. So maybe it's not weight savings, but in any case, a lot of German cars go for run flats. And for years, I didn't understand the impact that having those tires on my cars had on a few different things. And the first thing is ride quality. My first BMW Z4 was a great car, loved looking at it, loved driving it, had a lot of fun in that car, but its ride quality was always abysmal. If I hit a groove in the pavement, that car would hunt all over the place. You felt every imperfection on the road, and it took me years to figure out that it was the run flats letting down an otherwise great vehicle. What I didn't experience with that car, my other Z4, my Mini, until I got to this car, was the opportunity to experience the same car with both run flats and conventional tires on that vehicle. And for those of you that haven't experienced that, I highly recommend it. When my original Continental tires that were on this car, which were run flats, wore out and it was time to replace them, I put conventional tires. I put Hankook Ventus V12s on this vehicle, and I've been really, really pleased with those tires. I won't do a review of them, but I would highly recommend them as a great high-performance tire for sports sedans or sports cars. I think it's a highly rated tire if you look at the ratings online. But the difference in ride quality, riding on a non-run flat tire, has been immense in this vehicle. The trade-off that you have to be willing to accept if you go from run-flat tires to conventional tires is the fact that you could be stranded on the side of the road in the event of a puncture. And I thought long and hard about that when I transitioned out of run-flats on this vehicle, and I decided that trade-off was worth it for me. The increased road handling and softness of the ride I get with these tires and the reduction in road noise was worth the need to kind of cross my fingers and hope that I don't end up in a situation where I run over a nail and end up having to call roadside assistance. That works for me. That fits my specific needs. I'll talk about in a moment some use cases where I think that may be not the right trade-off to make. But for those of you that haven't had an opportunity to try on the same vehicle a run-flat tire and a conventional tire, I strongly recommend it. And you'll see that the difference in those things like road handling and road noise and just the comfort of your ride are going to change to such an extent that if you can make the trade-off, I think it's highly worth it. A personal experience gave me one more reason to ask the question of whether or not run-flat tires were going to continue to be right for me. A short time ago, I was driving in my local area and I hit a pothole about the size of Montana. And coming out of the back of that pothole with its very sharp back lip, I hit it on this side of the car and burst this tire and shattered this wheel. Now, the first realization that I had from that experience was the run flat tire was going to give me no benefit because the wheel and tire were damaged badly enough I couldn't limp the car to a dealer or a tire shop. Upon reaching the dealer, the second thing we realized after examining this tire and this wheel was that the reinforced sidewall in the run flat tire probably caused more damage than it saved because that additional rigidity transitioned force into this wheel from that impact, causing this wheel to shatter and crack. So a conventional tire might have been better for me in this situation. The tire would have failed, but the wheel might have made it out of the impact intact. As a result of that situation, I had to wait a few days for this wheel to be shipped from Germany, a replacement wheel, a couple days for Continental to ship the special order run flat tire from their factory. So I got really no benefit from having the more expensive run flat tire in this case. Now you could argue that's the price you pay for having a high performance vehicle and having special wheels and tires, and that could be true, and I accept that. But I think it's one more situation in my decision set that caused me to ask the question whether or not run flat tires were really a benefit. And drivers should be aware that they aren't a panacea. They don't solve all problems. They won't save you in every kind of impact or puncture situation. They're good for a certain kind of customer and a certain kind of subset of user, but buyer beware, and be aware that run flats don't save you in every situation. Like all clever inventions, run flat tires were designed to fill a usage case, and there are some situations where they make good sense, and certain drivers for which I think run flats are perfect. The non-mechanically inclined driver, if you don't know how or don't want to mess with the trouble of pulling a jack and a spare tire out of your trunk and fixing a flat on the side of the road, run flats are probably perfect for you. They give you the ability at a limited speed and for a limited distance to get to a safe place and have your car serviced. For mom drivers or large families that have kids in the car and you don't want to be in a situation where the whole family is kind of stranded by the side of the road while you try to, again, fix a flat or put a can of goo in your tire. If you've got run flats, you should be able to carefully keep driving and get to where you can get help and get assistance with that tire. So again, perfect use for those kinds of drivers. And then finally, the elderly drivers or folks that maybe aren't physically capable of jacking up a car, messing with spare tires and all that stuff. Run flats are a perfect way to keep you safe, keep you from being stranded, and allow you to get to a place where someone with the skill and the tools can do what you need them to do to fix your car. So run flats serve a purpose, but drivers and owners should be aware they come with trade-offs. And I discussed some of the road quality, the riding quality and the road noise that comes along with having run flats on a vehicle. And I can tell you, this being my first experience of having the same vehicle with both types of tires, those more driver-oriented or performance drivers among us that want the maximum performance and comfort out of your car, the difference was stark. It's absolutely noticeable, and I encourage those of you that are willing to make that trade-off and maybe risk being stranded at the side of the road or having to call AAA when you need help, going with a conventional tire, you won't regret it because you're going to feel the difference right away. So that's about it about tires and run flats. The weather's getting warmer here as we head into spring, and I look forward to getting out on the track, and I've got plans to do so and share some track-oriented videos with you with my SLK 350, some track prep that I'm working on, and I'll show some of that and do some all-around fun driving as spring and summer come. So as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.